This is Ruby from the Useful Journal. Stick around to plan with me a pull tab in your journal that reveals something interesting on the page. Okay, I didn't put you through watching the watercolour, so now I'm going to cut out, I might cut the page first. And I'm putting the mat under just to be sure, and I need to cut it so kind of along this dark line here, which isn't quite straight in my painting, but we'll have to do. So we're just going to slice this, right, and then I don't want to. Okay, so now you can see that when we see the tasks, we get the Dutch door effect, which is nice. And then I'm going to do the sliding thing behind the windows, my little trick thing. So we're going to cut out the windows, try and leave the black paint there around the edges, because that'll help blend it. Because I intend to paint the card that'll be behind. As you can see, even I put protective mat behind my cutting sometimes to make sure I don't make a mess. I didn't make you watch the watercolour because I'm not particularly good at watercolour, especially in a normal journal, like without watercolor paper. Right, we have our windows. Now, this is going to slide behind. I need to work out where it's going to slide to. So I want to put a figure in my windows moving across. So the figure will go about here. I wanted one. Now she's got to fit in these windows, so I don't want it to be too big. I do have smaller ones. Look at this sad little girl. She's pretty good actually. Yeah, I think she will be perfect. Little sad girl. Now what I'm going to do is actually cut more of the thing away from around her, because I want to paint a dark background around her so that she looks like she's in a dark room. I've only got a piece of paper that's just wide enough, partly because I've got such a narrow strip here. So she is literally going to be sitting like that far from the edge. She needs to be just off screen kind of thing, and she needs to be that close to the bottom. So now I need to paint this card, but given this bit's not going to show, I probably don't need to paint beyond here. By the time she gets to there, yeah, most of the card's showing, so I'll paint the rest. So we'll put that aside, and this is just going to be black because it's a dark room, but as I said, I'm going to paint around this girl, so let's just wax some paint on this end. But now the reason I trimmed her was so that I could get right up close. Because she's plastic, it'll just wipe off. And I think that will do. So nothing, I'm not doing anything fancy here. Someone that's really good at watercolour painting would probably do something a lot fancier. Now I need that to dry, and it's feeling a bit flimsy, so I might just wipe her off. What I might do is add another bit of paper behind to strengthen it. It's always a good idea to keep your old scraps. Now the reason I'm making this reinforcing piece is just to help it maintain some stiffness, but I'm going to do it narrower so that it's not thick on the edges, but it still provides enough strength. So I'll just cut it along there. What I'm doing is on that end, I'm going to stick that on the back, just to provide a bit of extra strength. This won't be seen. I'll stick that on the back in the middle. Don't have to do this step, but I do it just to make it a bit stronger. Now, get rid of that mucky piece of paper. Get the book back. So what we're doing is this is going to go behind here, and I've got to get it lined up exactly right to make sure it doesn't show around the edge of the pages, so it'll look dark. And then you'll pull on it like that and she'll just come across the windows. I need to stick this down. It's the first priority. And how wide? I need it to be the full width of that gap. Oh no, I need a little bit of room for the edge of this slider. So it needs to be slightly below that line. So I am going to have to trim the tape. And I want it to be, so it needs to be about there. So we've got a little bit of edge. So it's probably about half the width. Let's stick this down here, and it needs to be right on the edge. I'm gonna take that off. And while I'm here, I need to do the rest of the backing tape. So how wide is this? That is that wide, so if I've got a little bit of room, it'll be slightly above this line. I could do a wider bit here, but I've got this tape already cut. There we go, I think there's room there. It's tight, but that's okay. It means it won't remove around too much. Now, I can glue it or I can stick it. I think I'm going to keep sticking because the glue might make the page warp a little bit more, which it's already warping from the paint. As you can see, once I've done this, I can't go back and change anything. So this is a little bit nerve-wracking because I've put a lot of work into this page so far, and if I can't change it, that will be quite disappointing. So hopefully from here it all works. So what I'm doing now is sticking that down on the page behind it. So we've got my task, you can see the top of the house, title page, task, and now, oh, there's a little edge there. Okay, and you'll see when I turn it, it goes straight to that next page. So that is nicely stuck down. Now in theory, I've reinforced this. This should slip in here. Why is it sticking? Why is it sticking? Let's just get it started. There we go. I can put that down again in a minute. Now, this is where you need it to be under that edge. Yep. Fortunately, that sticky tape isn't fully stuck down yet. There we go. This is why it needed reinforcing. So there we go. She's all the way in now. I can stick that down. Let's hope she slides. So let's see if it works, hey? There she goes. She's in the window and she's in that window. Don't slide it too far. There we go. Now, I can either cut out a tab here or I can leave a tab sticking out. I might leave the tab sticking out because it's the cover page and that means I've got a tab for the beginning of the month. So I'm just going to cut on the back of this and I'm going to do a little snippet there and a little snippet there. And what do you reckon? Should I put some washi tape on it? Or I kind of need pull written on there actually. So I'm going to do what I did with my other tab and paint the end. When that dries, I will write pull and the page will be finished. So that will now go in here and oh, now this is what Just got to watch that when you tuck it away. So she's going to go hiding over here. So we start with this page. It's the title page. It sits down fine, and then I pull her through, and there she is. I might paint the rest of that just so it looks a bit better. So I'll just paint the rest of that. Just looks a bit tidier. Wouldn't be right if this was super neat when the rest of it's so messy. Oh, I don't want to pull that right out. I forgot. Let that dry and we're done. So we've got that page. It goes over like that, and I didn't have to waste that half of the page, which was nice. And then I've got this other one here, and we pull up the curtain and there's a little girl in the room. So two nice little reveal things there. Quite happy.